Hi everybody, my name is John Bullock and I'm the author of Mark Small, This Is Your Life, a novel that's just been published by the wonderful Sheila-Na-Gig Press. So Mark Small, This Is Your Life is unsurprisingly about Mark Small himself, who is a 14, almost 15-year-old boy growing up in England in a seaside bed and breakfast. So the section that I'd like to read is about his relationship with his dad, Stanley, and who is a greengrocer and somewhat overbearing. And in this section, Mark goes up to the fruit and veg market in London with his dad, which is something he has no real choice over because his dad has hopes that Mark will take over the business when he's a little bit older. Borough Market hit you like a dawn dip in winter. Noise, light, damp from the arches, hustle and bustle, an assault on all senses. Men bawled at each other as though they'd only just been given voices. But the noise wasn't the worst part. As soon as Dad parked up and found a barrow, I'd have to slip into my harness and be Mark the mule for an hour while he fanned around with his pad and pencil, scouting for bargains. No matter how nice the people seemed, Dad said it was all fake. Never mistake friendliness for friendship. They'd soon have the shirt off your back. He'd been going up there for 20 years and he still thought like that. Even though most of the traders hadn't set foot in the kitchen, fruit and veg was still man's work. Like barbecues. There might have been 10 women tops in the whole market. Most worked the snack vans or sold styrofoam teas from flimsy tables that wobbled from the weight of the urns. I was the only kid. In other walks of life, that might have entitled me to special treatment. But not there. You were only there for one reason, to work. There were no shortcuts. They even had their own pub on the corner, which stayed open all night long before pubs were allowed by law. I don't know if Dad ever went in there to see his mates. He didn't when I was there. Market wasn't for making friends. Come to think of it, nowhere was. He didn't have any. Name a situation, he had a saying for it. God knows where he got them, or what half of them meant. For example, enemies aren't cheap. Surely he had it arse about face. What he must have meant was that friends were expensive, what with them being so rare, and that once you found one, you treasured them for life. As far as enemies went, it wasn't hard to hate people you didn't even know. People always do stupid things to set you off. Jump the queue at the post office, smack into you in the street, tell you to get off your bike in the park. So whichever way you looked at it, enemies were cheap. Easier to make than a sandwich. Plus they were no use to anyone, therefore cheap to come by, at least in terms of demand and supply, which had been Dad's big thing ever since he tried to convince Uncle Rex all those years ago that he wanted a life in the trade. By the time I caught up with Dad, not only was the barrow so loaded that when I stood between the long handles with my back to the mountain of stock, I could hardly shift it, but my head was so bunged up with gossip that I felt bloated and sluggish. I'd heard more than was healthy. Everyone at the market stuck together. If you upset one of the traders, more than likely you'd upset them all. And if you did, they'd stitch you up quick as quick, till it wasn't worth your while going up there. Dad had seen it plenty of times. And like he said, people were friendly all the time they could afford to be. After that, you were on your own, which is why enemies weren't cheap. But he wasn't about to lose sleep over the ones who'd felt the pinch. Serves them right, he said. If they don't know what side their bread's buttered, I'm not about to tell them. They got the same 2 feet as the rest of us.